Chestnuts roasting on a night of gaming. Yes, it is approaching Christmas. Yes, I, Benjai, Mr. Christmas, Klaus, is here to help you get ready. Get ready for the joyous giving of games that may or may not have a board, but they're still board games. Go figure. This list you are about to embark upon has 10 names on it, each of which could and might be the ideal gift for a little bit more meatier fare, engaging 2 whole thirds of your brain and not going stratospheric though in terms of complexity. Arguably the best of both worlds. Accessibility for casual gamers and enough meat on the bone for those that like their games brain burny to the max. So please do join me on this journey of counting from 1 to 10. Number 1. The Search for Planet X sees you play as astronomers searching for the fabled and titular heavenly body X, hidden on the edge of our solar system. In this app-based deduction game, you'll be using your action points to perform scans, survey the night sky, and use scientific research, all the while using what you see to narrow down the possible locations of your target. And when you start to postulate where the planet is after some initial Sherlock Holming, you need to consider how much information you might be giving away to your opponents. But either way, points are up for grabs throughout. Thankfully, the app doesn't get in the way a great deal, providing the win con and drip feeding information in efforts to ensure your eyes and concentration are where they belong. Number 2. Tidal Blades is what happens when dice rolling and worker placement meet up for some good times, pitting you as contestants in a tournament that can gain you entry into the elite guards of the setting's island realm. There's quite a lot to see and do across the different boards that represent what might be described as a different set of mini-games on each board. And yes, a lot of it's standard worker placement fare, but that's only the start of your turn. You'll also be managing and upgrading your dice pool, and you'll need to strike the balance between being conservative and not re-rolling too often to make short work of the monsters you can fight and the challenge cards you encounter. Number 3. Lost Ruins of Arnac sees us segueing from worker placement as a cog in the wheel to part of a dynamic duo with deck building. Oh, and the visual and thematic splash of Indiana Jones style action adventure. First things first then, you will get to do cool stuff with your workers, but you don't have many of them, so make them count. But without your hand of cards and larger deck that you can upgrade as you go, you're not going to be going anywhere meaningful with your little meeples. Yes, it's part resource grab, but you'll also encounter and be rewarded for downing the menacing zoological discoveries, and also taking a side mission down the research track that ensures there's always more than one thing to do at any given time. Number 4. Dune Imperium is like the brother-cousin to Lost Ruins of Arnac, but only in the sense that it also combines deck building with worker placement. But the sci-fi planet-hopping shenanigans of this little piggy couldn't be further removed thematically. Not only that, but this puts conflict front and centre, as I suppose should be expected from this storied franchise. The multifunctional cards also come more to the fore, as you'll be using them both to enable the placement of your workers, but the cards you decide to hold back will then have a different effect in the second phase of each round. That's to say that there's a number of different ways you can approach Dune Imperium as you race to get to 10 points first. Number 5. Ankh, Gods of Egypt is the spiritual trilogy closer to Blood Rage and Rising Sun, and sees you playing gods of ancient Egypt competing to survive. Whether you're building caravans, summoning monsters, or converting followers, every action you take will bring you one step closer to a global event, allowing you to predict with a reasonable degree of certainty when things that affect the board state will take place. And there's a neat little catch-up mechanic 2/3 of the way through that sees the 2 weakest players form a coalition. Although it shares area control elements with its peers, this is a game more about positioning and movement, and the gods provide a permanent and impactful focus wherever they roam. Number 6. Beyond the Sun is medium-weight space civilization in a box. Set at the outset of humanity's race to the stars, your entire focus will be on colonising new planets and making your way up the science's good tech tree. And as much as this is fairly non-interactive Euro, you'll very much need to keep an eye on what your opponents are doing and how that might influence your decisions. Whilst that and a myriad of choices on your turn can make the game a bit thinky for a smack bang in the middle medium weight game, but that might be a good thing dependent on your perspective, as it's easier to learn than some of its contemporaries. Either way, this is a welcome addition to the genre. Number 7. Sleeping Gods sees you taking control of Captain Odessa and her courageous crew aboard the steamship the Manticore. A cooperative storytelling campaign adventure game at heart as you stepping into the shoes of the protagonists, meaning you can keep on chugging with different player counts each time at the table. This is a game designed to let you indulge your inner storybook explorer, with the bulk of mechanical actions involving tried and tested skill checks. But it's the way all the dynamic strands and interconnecting keywords you obtain that represent your growing skill set and equipment that tie into the overarching story that forms the platform of what makes this game so immersive and enjoyable. Number 8. Dwellings of Eldervale came well and truly out of left field when it was released last year, but boy does it do a great job of blowing the cobwebs away, combining a number of different mechanics and teaching them how to play nice. Yes, as its most surface level it's worker placement, not the first time we've mentioned placing little meeples on this list granted, but it's so much more than that. There's tableau and engine building that expands your available action, and then there's area control and ultimately conflict with roaming monsters that can devolve into a multiplayer free-for-all. Most importantly though, it's how they work together to form not a flawless game, but a highly enjoyable one that will get you itching for your next visit to the modular board. Number 9. Viscounts of the West Kingdom is another trilogy closer, and it certainly bows out with a bang. Another mishmash of mechanics that's set as the king's reign is declining, and you as Viscounts need to pick up the slack and the pieces. Moving rondel style around the communal board that houses actions on each space, but also contains the decks of multifunctional townsfolk cards you can interact with, the castle walls in the middle that you can vie for control over, and the rewards you can obtain on the outer ring. And all of this goes without mentioning the deck building light that ticks this game over, giving you the resources available to you each turn. And it's apt that this fills this spot on the list as it's in many ways a gateway to more heavyweight fare. Number 10. Imperium, Classics or Legends, is one of the meatier card games you'll likely come across on any list, and a whisper it deck builder to boot. There's two choices because, well, the same game got released over 2 boxes. Classics is the more introductory experience focusing on real historical factions, and Legends contains some harder to master and mythical groups. So without a board you get to swerve some of the usual tropes of civilization type games. Here you're always at the mercy of your hand of cards. Yes, you can stack the odds in your favour, but using what you have available on any given turn in pursuit of your objectives and need to advance your society makes for a game that adds some real strategy and depth to the genre. And there you have your very own list of 10 medium weight games that would only increase the quality of a board game collection. You really can't go wrong in this category if you're not sure about someone's tastes. And if you're secretly looking for yourself, then you know full well what's piqued your interest. If you do decide you're going to add to basket, then please do use the affiliate links found in the video description. It helps out a lot. Be sure to check out our list of lightweight recommendations, and next up will be a list of must-haves in the heavyweight and then stocking filler categories. Two ends of the spectrum if you ever needed them. Alas, I've been the voice of Board Game Santa, and this video has ended.